Hello, and welcome to the Dan and Shai podcast show, whatever we're calling it these days. Number 4, technically. 3?
4 or 5.
4?
It's 4 or 5.
No, it's not 5. It's nowhere near 5.
Oh, it's 4 then.
It's 3.
It's not 3.
I'm going to say it's 3 because Star Wars doesn't really count. That was more of a review.
Oh, fine, 3.
So, yeah, 3. How are you, Shai? Are you okay?
Yeah, great.
How are you doing? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I've got a couple of questions here for you. Should be interesting.
Your ridiculous questions. Okay, go on then.
So, I've got two for you, and then I'm just going to bring up two realistic topics. The first two might be a bit interesting question. Go ahead.
May I add that these are questions that he asked me 2 podcasts ago that were absolutely ridiculous. Like questions that a 4-year-old would ask a parent. But carry on.
They're not the exact same questions, but they're they're up there, sure, why not?
Of course.
I
have no idea what they are.
Question number 1.
Yeah.
Where do you think good and bad smells came from, Shai?
What?
Okay, let me elaborate, right?
As in the concept?
So, for example, right, like shit smells bad, right? Everybody knows shit smells bad. But baking cakes smells delicious. Why is it that way around, right? I mean, what makes one smell bad and the other smell good?
That's a really bad question, Dad. Do you want to know why? It's based on your own perception, what you think your opinion.
No, but it's not though, is it?
It is.
It's not though, really, because someone somewhere at some point in time has smelt shit and gone, oh, it smells horrible. Whereas someone at some point in time has smelt cakes and they've just gone, oh, it smells quite good.
Wait, you mean?
But that's become the worldwide perception because people say that it is. But someone why is that like that? Like, why does it have to smell bad? Why can everything just not smell good? Is it just because everyone has the same perception because it's like a common perception that like, for example, you're born into a world where everyone already thinks that shit smells bad, right? So, for example, when you first come to smell shit, you're going to think that it's bad because everyone else has taught you shit smells bad, right? And cakes smell good. So, where has that concept come from and why is that a thing?
Well, firstly, you make it sound like as if it's invented.
It is a little bit. It's like an invented perception, isn't it?
Well, no, because there are people around the world who find shit a really nice smell and taste because their brain is wired differently. Everyone's brain is wired differently. Yes, most of our brains are wired the way of shit smells bad, but there are people around the world who have snapped that or have rewired their brain, not on purpose, and they think shit smells good, or people eat shit, or eat feces, I should say. So there are people. For example, there are some parts of the world that still eat droppings of animals, or even old cultures from hundreds of years ago. We used to do that, probably to survive. So so technically, from the pre-dawn of humans or Homo sapiens and so on to now, it would have changed from then to now. But the concept of finding something that smells horrible and something that smells nice is based on the person's whether they like it or not. Because you could be a baby, you could fall headfirst into shit and be like, done. That's how it can be triggered. You're not a baby and the parents teach you this smells bad, this smells good. You can't really be taught it. It's just, and also there are smells that there are certain smells that 100% do not sort of go with your nasal perception. Like, I mean, for example, the smell of when vomits, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, I can probably guarantee no one likes the taste or smell. Like, feces is a bit different.
Well, I don't know. That 2 Girls 1 Cup video, I'd say that they like that smell and they like that taste quite a bit.
Granted, right.
I mean, as disgusting as it may be.
Yeah. But, I mean, like that, for example, that's because that obviously comes out of your mouth and it's what you've eaten, so that will always be bad.
Technically, it comes out of your stomach.
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't shoot out your skin out of your stomach. I mean,
it comes out of your stomach.
Yeah, but it comes out your mouth.
It comes from your stomach.
Yeah, from your stomach out of your mouth. That's what I just said.
Interesting.
But continuing, because it come out your mouth and you just recently put that food in your mouth, obviously it's not going to be right. Because
What if it comes out of your foot?
What?
Vomit.
Explain.
As in, like, how do we know it comes out of the stomach? It could come from anywhere, Shai. It could come from the gut. Who knows?
But usually it's what you've eaten is what you've thrown up.
So it could, but it could. In that case, it could go. You know, like how people say, "Oh, all food goes to your feet." Like, you know, like for example, right? Like people that eat a lot, right? And they're just like, "Oh, it all go. Where does it all go? It goes down to your feet."
Yeah, the
vomit.
fat.
So vomit could come down to your feet.
No, oh god.
And then it could come out from your feet, through your stomach, and out your mouth.
No, that does make sense, but it does not in terms of that is true, but not in terms of it actually coming out physically, going up your leg all the way round to your throat to come out.
Could it come from which one? Where does it go to make? Where does your food go to make?
What?
To make shit.
Where does your food go?
Where does your food go in your body to make shit? Is that the bowel?
It goes to your stomach, then your lower intestine.
Which one's the bowel?
Which one? Which one's the bowel?
which one? No.
Are you talking
okay,
about the
tell me
large-
what the bowel does.
Are you talking about the large intestine?
I don't know. What one's the bowel?
Oh dear God.
I just know that there's something called a bowel that I'm
That's not-
fairly certain relates to shit in some way.
That's not a question. Which one is the bowel?
What does the bowel do? There you
have
go,
to
that's
do-
a better question.
What does the
I'm
bowel
going to reshape
do?
that question for you. What does the bowel do?
I don't know. It bowls shit. Like
So it does relate to shit. So
Well,
basically what I'm saying is, can vomit come from your bowel?
Well, no, because I suppose it's already past the area. Because when you throw up, I can't believe we're talking about this. When you throw up, it's gone. You're throwing up from your stomach, not because.
But you just said that vomit is usually what you've eaten. And if what you've eaten usually goes to the bowel to become shit, could it then theoretically not become vomit and come back out through the stomach, out the mouth?
No, because it would have to pass back up the lower intestine, which is impossible. You cannot.
But is it not true
No.
that some people vomit shit?
No.
They do. They do.
Who's they?
Elderly people.
Elderly people.
Elderly people in care homes, right? Sometimes they have been known to vomit shit.
What?
Like shit, as in shit comes out of their mouth.
You know
sometimes,
this, you know
and
this
it's
as a
usually
fact.
where the thing comes from of you're talking shit.
You know this as a fact.
I do know this as a fact. In fact,
Please explain this fact.
because
Do you have a name, year, and
So,
the
okay,
time
right,
at
so-
home name?
my mother, right?
Your mother.
She used to
You're
work-
saying your mother.
She used to work in this care home where she looked after elderly people with dementia, and there were times when they would have shit coming out of their mouth, literal shit. Now, I may have misheard this as maybe they put shit in their mouth, but I'm fairly certain I remember the story as they were vomiting shit, or they were not vomiting shit, but shit was coming out of their mouth. And I remember making the joke of they're talking shit. So, is it not then true that you could, theoretically, you could vomit from your bowel?
I feel like your mother probably said shit came out of their mouth. I said, oh, so much shit came out of their mouth. That way of
I'm
phrasing
fairly
it.
certain she used the word poo, because my mother would not use the word shit. But, yeah.
Okay, well, that's a weird discussion, but no. next
Interesting. I'll have to look into that.
next question.
Okay, so next question. So, what if the pathways that we walked on worked a lot like motorways? One direction, right, on one side of the road, on one side of the pathway, and another direction on the other side. But you had to stick to that side. So, for example, exactly like a motorway, right? So you've got 3 lanes, and then on the other side, with a barrier in between, you've got 3 lanes. Only on the pathways, you don't have this barrier. It's like, for example, think of the high street just down the road from us, right? And you're walking up it, and down one side, you've got, people walking one way. Down the other side, you've got people walking the other way. That's a bit nicer, isn't it? It would save a lot of trouble in terms of when you're walking towards someone, you do that whole, are you going left? Are you going right? And you have that whole awkward standoff thing. It would save a lot of that trouble. And when people walk towards you and neither of you want to move, it's a bit terrifying, isn't it? Now imagine if that worked the other way around, right? So for example, if motorways didn't have that bar in between and we just did motorways like how we walk, it'd be terrifying, wouldn't it? You'd have things coming towards you at 70 miles an hour, neither of you want to move left or right. Be
So
terrifying.
then you crash.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay, I'll poke a huge hole in this theory, but in a second. I mean, it's an interesting thing because technically we already do it in a way. I mean, British, we came up with the whole walking on the left, going on the left. Everything is always on the left. So when you go on an escalator, you walk down on the left, you stand still on the right. If you walk down a street, most people tend to walk on the inside of the street and then on the outside of the street. So there's always sort of one way or the other. So if you're walking down from the outside, you walk on the outside. If you're walking down so there are already sort of pre-existing mental ways of doing that people have done. There are things in, I believe, China or Japan, the train stations. They have lines in them, so you do have to follow in the lines to the platform and stuff. So that does sort of pre-exist. But to poke a huge hole in the theory that you've just made, yes, it would stop you going head on to people. But what is one thing that is absolutely annoying when you're in busy high street and you're trying to get somewhere? People in front of you walking slower than you. And you're always like, oh, God, get out of the way.
But that's why you'd have, like, at least 3 lanes. So you've got the overtaking lane, for example.
Yeah, but then there'd always be someone that's always in the way. That's why everyone always walks in front of people, so that because there's always bound to be people walking the opposite way with less people compared to people walking your way, and there's a shit ton more people. So there's people are always going to move around no matter what. They'll never stick in a lane, and then it will be like a busy. Imagine if there's like a school in front of you and they're taking up all 3 lanes all in front of you. You wouldn't be able to move anywhere. You'd be stuck behind them for about, 10 minutes.
Okay, so let me add another thing to this theory, right? What if we had, exactly like a motorway, a little bar in between?
What? Bars everywhere?
No, as in just a bar in the middle.
So one bar everywhere to stop you crossing lanes?
Yes. No, but if you wanted to cross lanes, because we're on foot, we could just hop over the bar.
Yeah, so what's the point of the bar?
Instead of driving... Because the bar would separate you.
But then if no one will follow the bar by hopping over, what's the point of the bar?
No, I just mean the bar would separate one from going... You can only go over the bar if you want to go the other way, because everyone would be walking in that direction.
But this makes no sense.
Like, if you're walking on the right-hand side of the bar, you'd be going forward, right? And then everyone on the left-hand side of the bar would be going backwards.
Yeah.
So if you're walking forward, you go, oh, shit, I forgot something. You hop over the bar and you walk backwards.
So you're basically just talking about crowd control, what they do, like at the O2 Arena when they set up the bar and then everyone walks one way and everyone walks in. You're just talking about crowd control. That's literally already exists and already happens. It's just not everywhere.
Well, it should be everywhere.
No, because that's stupid. Imagine if there's a shop on the other side of the store, you have to walk past the shop to hop over the bar to walk backwards to go in the shop. Next question. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
You did not think of that, clearly.
Okay, and last thing, and this kind of goes with the walking bar scenario. This could be another thing that we could add in that would be very clever. Now, you know when it snows, right? Everybody loves it. Everybody loves the snow. Apart from when you're walking to work or driving to work or you've got to be at an appointment or you need to see that family, friend or whatever.
Yeah.
There's always something, right? And snow gets in the way of that, puts traffic at a standstill, makes everybody late for work. Everybody's miserable after that. Ice is a bit shit. Now,
I thought you said ISIS is a bit shit. Sorry.
I mean, ISIS are a bit shit as well, but
Carry on.
I believe they've been dealt with. So ice is a bit shit. So why don't we, as a government, me and you, I mean like the government of the British, why don't we just put roofs over everything? What? As in like one gigantic roof, right, over every country. Over like it would just not over buildings, but like it would cover. It'd be quite high up, but it would cover the the roads and the pathways, right? So that when it snowed, the snow would fall, but instead of going on the road and the pathways and pissing everybody off, you would have it landing. The majority of it would land on this roof. Like you get probably a little bit, but it wouldn't be that bad. You'd have enough to keep people happy and make their snowmen or whatever. But the majority of it would go on the roof.
Yeah.
So that saves a lot of trouble, don't you think?
Well, okay. Firstly, this roof would be quite high up, and it would cover streets and pathways only.
Yes, because you wouldn't want it over your house, would you?
Oh, and houses as well.
No. You wouldn't want it over your house, so it wouldn't be over the house.
Oh, sorry. Right. So right, but would it also go on driveways? Because obviously people don't want snow on their cars and on their driveway.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Cool. It's also on their driveways, meaning
It's
that
over their driveways. It's not. There's no bar on the driveway.
Yeah, no. It's just over.
It just stretches over.
Right. So this thing. Right. Sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Rainwater. As in to feed plants. Can you see where I'm going with this?
No. Okay, so like, so rainwater, we could install something. Let's say the glass can sense when. Let's just assume it's glass. The glass can sense when it's snow, i.e., it's got a temperature setting or whatever. Heats itself up automatically, right? So it melts the snow, turns into rainwater, and then inside the glass, there's, I don't know, little holes on the sides maybe for like plants. You know, if it's over plants and over guttering or whatever, or over whatever needs water, it's got little holes that the rain will fall through or the melted snow will fall through. And this is good as well because people don't like rain, do they? They don't like walking in the rain. You know, you look outside, oh fucking hell, it's raining. You know, like you'd rather not be out in the rain, wouldn't you? So my thing here is preventing rain. So it'd be like an umbrella, but over the entire country, right? So you'd be walking out, you go, oh, it's raining. Oh, it doesn't matter. We've got the glass roof.
Right. Another thing to poke. You walk outside. It's a hot, sunny day. It's 30 degrees, and there is glass above your head. It will amplify the glass and burn you alive. Sorry, amplify the sun and burn you alive.
Okay, so here's I've got something to. Oh wait! I've got something to counter this as well, right?
Oh god.
So you, for example, right, sunglasses.
Are you telling me you're going to tint the glass? Are you telling me you're going to tint all the glass?
Yes, it would have little shutters so that on the glass. If it is really that sunny, it's really hot, it's 30 degrees, whatever, let's just say, it would sense when it gets too hot as well. So it would sense when it gets too cold and it would heat itself up. If it gets too hot, it would suddenly just put like that thing that we put over sunglasses over that glass, right? They like little shutters would come on, like sunglass shutters. So there wouldn't be, so you'd look up, you'd be able to look at the sun, you'd go, oh, it's nice and cool. And you'd still get the wind because obviously the wind would escape through and under the glass and would give you a little breeze. Keep it cool.
What about people who want to tan?
They'd have special places for those. I mean, as well, you know, like you've got tanning places, but obviously that's why it wouldn't be over your garden, you know, because that's why it wouldn't be over houses and then over your garden, because if you want to tan, there you go. Just go in the garden. Or go to a tanning place.
Okay, well, that was interesting.
It's not really an issue either for England, because no one tans in England, let's be honest. We never get that much sun.
Apart from fake orange people.
That's true, yeah.
That was interesting. Thank you so much for those 3 insightful questions.
You're welcome.
And that was the end of Question Time.
Question Time, I love that show. Never seen it.
Right, now, I have something for you. Not for you, just 3 things. I'm going to bring this up every time.
Okay.
This is basically my, this is called First Time. First times, actually.
Okay.
Top 3 first times.
I'm worried.
It is not what you think.
Okay.
First time behind a car in WH Smith. No, this is...
Wait,
first
what?
I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Alright, first time. So basically, this is going to be a discussion of first time invention reactions. So this is my thing of first times. This is what I'm going to say to you. So, the first one is... Everyone's always discussed this, but I'm going to bring it up and then get people to comment down below as well. Give me ideas. Give yourself ideas for what I say as well.
Okay.
But, firstly, I'm going to say this to you. I want you to try and tell me how it would have been done.
Right.
Milk. Imagine the reaction of the very first time someone got milk from an animal. Because
which milk?
Which milk?
Which
cow's milk.
Cow's milk, right? Okay.
Or cows, goats. Let's just stick with cows for now. But cow's milk, because I find it incredibly weird that someone was on their farm and looked at a cow and went, I wonder what would happen if I tugged it off.
That would be an interesting scenario, wouldn't it?
Yes. And then after tugging it off, whatever comes out is then on the floor. The person looks at it and goes, wonder how that tastes. they taste it and go, I wonder if I'll add this with flour, egg, and so on to create cake.
Oh no. That was
Wait, no, you don't make milk. That's
what was it? Flour, egg, and milk makes pancakes, and I believe that was invented by no other than Sir Jesus Christ.
What?
Wasn't that like his whole thing on Easter? Like he was just like, hey guys, get together, got some egg, milk and flour, let's make some pancakes. And they're like, what the fuck's pancakes? He's like, don't worry mate, I'm Jesus Christ. I've got this. Let's make some fucking pancakes. And the world was blessed evermore with pancakes. It was a beautiful creation. Anyway, as for the milk scenario, I don't know. I reckon that was an accident. I reckon someone slipped, or maybe they were like going after a cow or whatever. They was just like, oh, I wonder what this animal is. Maybe it was a caveman. Caveman was chasing after a cow, right?
Chasing as if it was getting away.
Well, because they're hunters, aren't they? So they're like naturally instinctual. Instinct would be fucking hell. That's a caveman. Should probably run. He's got a spear. He's probably just killed my brother or whatever. You know, they're running away, and the caveman slips on a rock, and he goes out. He reaches for something. He grabs the udder of a cow. And the cow goes, "Oh, do you know? Oh, I quite like that."
Wait, what?
So he carries on. Right?
Wait, no, hang on.
And then all this white stuff starts coming out. He's like, "Oh, that's strange," but it looks quite liquidy. And he's like, "That looks a lot like water if it was white." So he licks it, or maybe he smells it first. I don't know. He just thinks, oh, that smells alright, actually. Yeah. So, you know, like how you smell stuff first before you taste it. You're like, oh, that smells good. And then you taste it, and you're like, oh, it tastes good as well. You know, you normally smell something first.
You can't smell milk.
You can smell milk. Milk has a smell.
Yeah, but when it's warm, not when it's cold.
What?
You can't smell milk from a distance when it's cold.
I'm not saying from a distance. He's just milked it. It's on the floor.
But you can't smell it even when it's on the floor that close. He'd have to put his nose right to the floor in order to smell it.
Yeah.
And as well as that,
he probably would. He's interested.
You just said the cow went, that feels good. So you mean to tell me the cow told the caveman to carry on? Is that what you
No,
basically...
but the cow would just stand there, and he'd be like, you know, carry on, my son.
So he did tell him to carry on?
No, he just, you know, he gives him a little nod.
Oh, so he nods at him and he carries on. And as well as that...
He's a smart cow.
As well as that, if the caveman fell over and grabbed that, surely it would be ripped from the cow. The amount of body weight a caveman would have had to be flung off the ground. Or flung
no, because an udder's quite low to the ground.
Yeah. So wouldn't
So he'd already be on the ground.
And as well as that, if you just tug it once, it wouldn't immediately release so much.
No, but maybe he bounced off the ground and his hand went back up a little bit.
Bounced.
And then you know, like when you like fall, when someone falls in slow motion, right? They hit the ground, they bounce a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the smallest. It's not even a bounce. It's just your body bending back and then forward again.
Yeah.
Because it's just the.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. Your hand would be like that. You know, go up and down.
And he's still gripping it incredibly hard, as if he's masturbating a cow.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Interesting. Okay.
I reckon that's how milk first came out. Like, you know, someone just accidentally tugged a cow, and it was like, "Oh, it's pretty good." And then they told the farmer, and maybe a farmer did it. I'm gonna go with the caveman thing. I feel like that's more realistic.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. The second one, is I mentioned it before. Is eggs. In terms of, because there's the biggest argument of what came first, the chicken or the egg, and I believe it's still ongoing, I've got no idea. But a farmer or a bloke, or I don't know, anyone, was just on a field, saw a chicken shit out this massive plastic-looking oblong-shaped, not even an oblong, like a weird-shaped, you know, an egg, basically, but just in his mind, it was just weirdly shaped, just shat it out. Mm-hmm. The guy looked at it and went, I wonder if I cooked that at a specific temperature so that the chick inside dies before it's born.
Okay, now let me stop you there. There's no chicken in the egg.
No, that's what I mean. So they know that chicks come from the eggs. So this person decided to take the egg before it had formed the chicken inside. God knows how they would have known how far in the process they were.
I don't think that's how that works, because chickens just lay eggs normally, don't they? With the little yolk and that inside. Like, that doesn't suddenly yolk doesn't turn into a chicken.
Are you serious? Do you not know what egg yolk is?
No, wait, sir. Sir.
No.
Now, unless my whole life has been a lie,
Oh, dear God.
roosters have to fuck the chicken in order for them to give birth to an egg with a chick in it. You can't chickens just naturally shit out a fuck ton of yolk eggs. They're not always pregnant. That'd be a horrible life to live.
Well, no, granted. I think
And plus, if that's the case, why aren't the eggs in my cupboard? They've been in there for like a fucking month or two. Why have they not hatched into? Why are we not like abundance with chickens right now?
No, I was actually concerned. I thought you thought that they didn't come from inside the egg of the yolk. No, you are right about the roosters, but I thought you didn't know that. So
No,
don't worry.
No, I was going to say like chickens just naturally lay a fuck ton of eggs. The only reason they lay an egg with a chick in it is when a rooster fucks them in the whatever they've got. I don't know if is it a vagina? I don't know. Is that just a human thing? Who knows? The little socket that his little plug goes into.
Allen wrench, yeah.
That's the one.
Right, but either way, someone saw the egg and was like, if I cook this at the right temperature, and think about the different styles of cooking an egg. I don't know, I don't eat egg, but the point I'm trying to make is that people, cook it and then have hard boiled. People crack it open and mix it with stuff to make like cookies or whatever.
I don't reckon they started with the egg. I think some bloke was walking through a field, a chicken lays an egg, he doesn't see it or whatever. He accidentally steps on it and he just goes, oh, what's that inside? And he sees it's got all liquid and stuff. He's like, I could probably cook that.
What? Why would anyone?
So he waits for another. He goes off, finds another chicken egg, cracks it open, but in a controlled environment. Maybe cooks it, see what it tastes like. Because we're humans, we do stupid shit all the time. It's just like, oh, that looks like a thing I could probably turn into food.
So in which case, why has nobody stepped on a pigeon, seen the shit come out of its arse, and gone, I could probably eat that?
Because that's different. You're not going to see shit come out of its arse, are you? What? It's in an egg.
Yeah.
A chicken. The thing you're talking about is in a sealed container. It's like cracking open a bag of crisps. And there's crisps inside. It's nice. Because it's in a container of sorts, you crack that open, you cook that, it hardens up or it smells nice and you just think, oh, it's alright, isn't it?
Okay. I'm sure you can't step on an egg as well, because I've seen someone try to do that. Oh, no, sorry. No, forgive me. You can step on an egg only on its side. Because you can't step on an egg on top of it and you can't crush an egg between your hands at the north and south of the egg.
Really?
Yeah, you can't. If you put an egg between your palms, and then north and south of the egg, and try and crush it, you can't crush it. It's almost impossible. That's a test of how strong your bones are, not in your hand, in general. So how strong that is how strong your bones are.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's something that I learned. I think in
I thought you could just crush an egg no matter what.
No. You can from the side of the egg, but you can't from the north and south of the egg.
Oh.
So you generally, if you get an egg now, or whenever you do today, literally just put it between your palms and do that as hard as you can, and you can't break it.
Interesting. Might have to try that.
But that's the second one. The last one isn't much of a. Well, it's kind of a reaction. It's a reaction of what everyone else would have thought at the time. So, guitar strings.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
thanks for the reminder as to what a guitar string is just then.
That's not really much of a guitar. But the point I'm trying to make is guitar strings. As far as I'm aware, when they were first around, or the first person to make guitar strings, or as far as I'm aware, it was made of animal guts and silk.
That's disgusting.
No, point being, your reaction is that. So the first person who must have killed an animal, or an animal must have died, and then dug out its guts, strung it and gone, and then held it together, and their mate must have plucked it and gone, hey, John, come here. What does this sound like? Bang, 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 bang. Oh my God, this sounds amazing. Put it round like more dead animal parts to create a guitar. Or a lute, or whatever it would have been before. But, yeah, because
I think it started with the lute.
Would have done.
I can't exactly remember how it started.
But the fact that it was the very first one would have been of animal guts and stuff. Someone else must have thought, ooh, it's a bit weird playing with an animal's veins and intestine, whatever they use. Obviously not intestine, but something. The reaction you just gave is the reaction everyone probably would have had at the time of just disgust. Unless back then it was just the norm. Oh, Dave, give it to me. I'll use it as a whip.
Oh.
Whip someone's...
I love how everyone in the medieval times is called Dave, Jim and Bob.
Yeah, it's just casual. Why not?
Just as they are.
I got a last bonus one as well, because this is technically a first time reaction.
Mm-hmm.
These two things. Basically, have you ever been worried that the first time you ever set an alarm on your phone, or ever set an alarm on a device, the first time you put it on silent, you were actually not sure whether the alarm would go off?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I tested this
Yeah, you
because I'm
tested.
a smart person.
Exactly.
I put it on silent mode, and I was like, "Oh shit!
I wonder
Does
if
that mean if the alarm's not going to go off?" So what I did is I set it for 1 minute later from the time I set it, and I put my phone on silent real quick, and I just waited until the alarm went off. And when it went off, I was like, "Okay, that's good." And then I just set it for the morning and put my phone on silent.
Exactly, yeah, because that's something I thought about the other day. Like, I thought about it and I was like, I bet everyone's had this feeling. Everyone has had this feeling once in their life where they set the alarm on their phone,
I still do it.
put it on silent. It's like, oh wait, is it going to go off though?
I still do it because I forget. Like, my phone's hardly ever on silent. I always keep it on vibrate. But if I ever have to put it on silent, I'm like, oh shit, is the alarm going to go off? Yeah. So I always double check it and test it. It's just a natural response to do that. It's like, oh no, it's on silent. It's not going to go off. Let me just double check this.
Yeah. No, it's true. And the last one, this is another bonus one as well, and that's it. The first time in a video game, so for people who play video games, the very, very first time you saw, when you completed a level, you saw the word replay, and you clicked on it thinking it's an action replay. So you watch what you're doing, but then it turns out you restarted the level. Because it used to be like that. Older games, when you complete a level, it would say next level, replay or options, or next level, replay, quit, something like that. But replay originally used to be restart mission or restart level. But obviously around then as well, replay used to also mean you watch what you just did.
I can't say I've ever shared that one.
Oh, fair.
I've never played a game where that's ever been a thing.
Oh, fair.
And I've also never really wanted to watch myself afterwards.
I know, fair. I've made that mistake once because I forget what game it was. It may have been a very old Bond game, I'm not entirely sure. But I remember I was playing it, I finished the level, and then the very first time I saw replay, it was like, hang on, so I can watch what I just did? Or I feel like I may have missed something, so I clicked on replay, and then it took me back to the beginning of the level, and I was like, shit. And then from then on I realised that replay means restart, is in terms of gaming world. Because I made that mistake and I thought if anyone else would have.
I wonder if there'll be a hint to that, or like an Easter egg of that in Ready Player One.
Yeah, true, maybe. I mean, yeah, could do.
Possibly, because they are based on like the 80s, so possibly.
Alright, and that's the end of my first times.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting little scenario there. I like that a little bit.
I'll do more of those soon. But yeah, that's the end of that.
Okay.
Now, Super Bowl trailers.
Super Bowl trailers, yeah.
We'll start with being Star Wars fans. We'll start with Solo.
Okay. You didn't like it, did you?
No. I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and I actually found this boring. I know it's a teaser. A lot of teasers can be like this. A lot of teasers can be look at it and go, but a lot of teasers for big franchise films, aka Avengers, Marvel, DC, Bond, Mission Impossible. A lot of teasers are big in terms of when you see them, it's amazing and it gets you hyped. Blah blah. This is the first teaser I've watched, and I've just gone.
Incredibles 2 had a pretty shit teaser.
Oh no, granted, that came out before the Super Bowl, but that was disgustingly awful.
That was just like
that was so bad. Incredibles 2
seconds of new footage that's probably not even going to be in the film.
Yeah, Incredibles 2 was an amazing sort of build-up. They said a couple of days before, trailer in 2 days, trailer in 1 day, and everything like that. And then the trailer they released was crap because there was no new footage, no nothing, just him going. The dad, I forgot his name, going, "You have powers,
Bob,"
and that's it.
I love him because he's got just such a simple name, Bob.
Yeah. But
Bob the superhero dad.
It was just such a bland trailer. That's the sort of trailer you release for saying there is a trailer coming out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So that was a disappointment. But yeah, this Solo trailer has really got me down because it's shown Han in a different light to what we know him as. We know him as this rogue smuggler, as this sort of cocky, I wouldn't say maybe womanizing. He seems womanizing. Like he's sort of got that characteristic of like womanizing, drinking, rebel, blah blah blah. Not rebels in rebellion. Rebels in his own.
He looks a bit too young to drink. Like if you're going by the American standards of age 21, he looks a little bit too young to be drinking. I know the actor's over 21, but
it's hard to tell because obviously we don't know how old he is in this film. He does look young, but I don't think he's young. I don't think he's like 15 or 16 or 18. I think he is supposed to be like around his age of the actor. I think that's the point. But it's the fact that he's just too... He just seems... There are shots of him, the odd shot of him where he does seem like the old Han Solo, but most of it he just seems very sort of light-hearted. Like he seems like Luke when he first was around in episode 4 and 5. Like, yeah, I want to help do stuff. Yeah. And it's just like it's like no, it doesn't suit him. I know probably the film will change him, but I just really hope that the whole film isn't that.
See, what I was saying before was, I reckon that he'll start with like this sort of optimistic attitude of I want to be a pilot, I want to help, I want to do all this stuff, and then something happens, or a few things might happen in this film that is quite bad, where he loses people, or he gets betrayed, or something happens that makes him the non-trusting, womanizing scoundrel that you meet in episode 4.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm hoping for. I just hope that I hope that they.
It's going to be a really big fucking character change.
Yeah,
like a really big character development arc in this film, I reckon.
Yeah, I hope they don't do as well like a 3-parter of it. They don't do Solo 1, Solo 2, Solo 3 because that'll just drag it out too much. But I do hope the same. A lot of people also keep saying that this film is very Rogue One-ish, which is kind of the point. Because any film without lightsabers is Rogue One-ish. That's sort of the point. Because this isn't a main Star Wars film. This is a side Star Wars film.
But you said that Darth Vader may be in this film.
Yeah, that was a rumour, or not a rumour. It was either a rumour or a confirmed fact. About 5 months ago, they were saying that Darth Vader will be in this film, but as a because obviously during this time, Darth Vader is a political presence everywhere. The Empire, Darth Vader is so you can't really have the Empire because you see the Empire in this film. You can't really have the Empire and the generals without some form of Darth Vader.
See, although I understand that and that's fine and everything, I just feel like they're throwing Darth Vader in for a cash grab. But like this movie might be bad, but here's some Darth Vader, so come see it. I feel like it's one of those.
If they throw him in the trailers, then yes.
Because they did that for Rogue One. Rogue One, he didn't really... I mean, yeah, all right, the ending he needed to be there for, because that's kind of important. But they could have probably done without Darth Vader,
the film.
like, or at least not put him in the trailers. Like they put such a not a heavy essence on him, but like, you know, there was like they showed the trailer for the film, and everyone was already hyped, and then they just put in that breathing. And I was like, well, that's not necessary. Mm-hmm. Like, just let it be a surprise. If you're going to throw him in there, let it be a surprise. Mm-hmm. Like, because obviously he had to be there for the end scene, because that kind of crosses over straight into episode 4. So it makes sense why he's there. Mm-hmm. And he's not that big in the film, so it's fine. But I just don't feel like they should have advertised him in the trailers, because that's not what the film is about.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, definitely. I feel like even if Darth Vader wasn't in the middle of the film, you know, when he meets the director, or the director meets Darth Vader and then he says, oh, the project's still mine, and he chokes him and says, don't choke on your aspirations. That whole scene could have been removed. They could have just literally done the whole film without that scene, and then right at the end, even if he wasn't in trailers, then right at the end, he just then pops up on the ship trying to stop the Tantive 4. Like, that all would have been really good, but I do agree, yeah, no, it will be, if he's in the trailer, it will be a cash cow sort of thing to do. Hopefully he's not, because I want Darth Vader to be in it, but not in it. I just want him to be like either in a hologram talking to one of the generals as Solo's sneaking on a ship or something like that.
Or you see his face mask on like a poster somewhere that's like bow to the Empire or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that. Not directly in the film, just indirectly in it through other third parties.
So you can see he's a presence at that time. Mm. So you can it's kind of like a way of, it's a very subtle way of being like, this is when this film is set, and this is the thing that they're all sort of living under at the moment.
Yeah, more or less. But that's yeah. But so that's hopefully that film is really good to show that. But yeah, so that's Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Next one,
I think we should talk about the Avengers one next, because then that leads into the following trailer that I want to talk about.
Okay.
So the Avengers one wasn't really a trailer per se. It was more of a 20-second
New
reveal
footage.
thing.
Yeah.
The main thing I want to talk about on that is the bit where you see Spider-Man on the ship, and the ship is going into space, and he takes his mask off, and then it cuts away. I saw a theory online today where there could be a scenario where he ends up in the spaceship, because obviously he can't breathe. He's not got, the capabilities to breathe in space. So I'd imagine he goes into the ship, right? And let's just say, for example, maybe with Venom coming out in November, that there's a version of the symbiote or a little bit of the symbiote or whatever on that ship for whatever reason. Because maybe it's an experiment of Thanos's or something like that. Like, he has all these different weapons. Maybe that's one of them that he keeps locked away. Spider-Man stumbles upon it. He gets the symbiote. And in the trailers, you've obviously seen the Iron Spider suit, but that's all when he's on Earth. Part 2, or maybe not part 2, but like, I don't know, maybe like the second half of the film when like he's fighting on the spaceship or whatever, he gets the symbiote on him and he just goes, oh wow, this feels really good. And then he starts fighting people. And he's like, this is really powerful and everything. But then he realises it's a bit too much when his teammates... Because I wouldn't imagine he goes in there alone. So maybe he has a go at his teammates, like his heroes that he's always looked up to. Or maybe he's... I don't know, maybe he does something wrong or he beats them up accidentally. But then he can't stop himself. And then when he gets back to Earth, he'll take the suit off. Because he'll be like, oh no, I don't want this anymore. So he'll take the suit off. He'll lose it in the forest somewhere. And then in Venom... That's where the government come in, find the symbiote in the forest, and they're like, oh, this is a weird weapon that's fallen from space. They take it in, give it to Eddie Brock, and that's the connection.
Yeah.
That's how you see the Venom suit looking like the Spider-Man suit, because he did have it in Avengers Infinity War. But it'll be like very sort of brief. Because they've already done, they don't have to do the whole symbiote story with Spider-Man anymore. Yeah. Because they've already done it in Spider-Man 3. And that was pretty much the entire film, with only a little bit of Venom at the end. This way around, they can do the brief version of Spider-Man in Avengers, and then you've got a whole Venom movie.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that and it makes sense because in that trailer, where you see the little snippet of Spider-Man, he's wearing his normal suit, but then in the in the other Infinity War trailer, he's wearing his Iron Spider suit. So clearly there is a suit change. So that could be the case, yeah. And because he's wearing his normal suit in that bit where he goes into space, and in the normal trailer you see him on the school bus. And he looks to the right and he sees the ship. I can only imagine something like he sees the ship, jumps off the bus, goes to the ship, tries to stop it himself like an idiot, goes up into space with it, and then everything you just said.
He comes back down when like Thanos is coming or something like that.
Yeah, so that all could happen. But I don't know, that is a possibility. But yeah. I agree with that.
But no, I just thought it was a very interesting fan theory. It was like, oh, it could be a nice little connection. And then it was saying as well that the Venom movie might begin with like a pre-roll thing, like kind of like how Spider-Man Homecoming had the pre-roll of the Avengers or whatever. That Venom could start with a little pre-roll because Tom Holland's rumoured to be in it as Peter Parker. Could have him as a pre-roll of him taking off the suit, in case you didn't see Avengers Infinity War, him taking off the suit and then it escaping into the woods, and then you pick up, like you leave Spider-Man behind in that scene, but you see what happened to the symbiote and where it went. Yeah. And the government picking it up or something like that. Whereas in Avengers, you just see him take it off and it rolls off into the forest. But in the Venom movie, you find out what happened after it goes into the forest, for example. Yeah. Maybe something like that. But
yeah. But no, that's good. And then this now leads to Venom Super Bowl trailer, which the trailer itself did look a bit weak as well. It was as I predicted. I remember saying to you about 2 months ago, the trailer they'll probably release will be all Eddie Brock slow-moving trailer of him narrating about how bad his life is, and it will show like the moments of when he is diagnosed with cancer and so on. It will be all slow-moving, and then right at the end you'll see Venom. And I was mostly right till the bit where you see Venom, because you don't. The only snippet you see is right at the end of the trailer when he's freaking out. You see black coming up his neck, but that's it. That's all you see, which. I mean, I can understand they want to keep Venom a secret. Well, not a secret. They want to keep his look a secret until probably the next trailer, which will be in like 2 months.
Well, I mean, it is still,
February. So
9 months away?
Yeah.
It comes out in November, right? So it's still 9 months away. Yeah. So, I mean, I can understand maybe the visual effects aren't done yet or something like that. It's still 9 months away. It's a lot of stuff they got to do. they're probably not ready to reveal the suit yet. I mean, they probably just wanted to get an early thing out because it's the Super Bowl, it's a big thing. Kind of like how Suicide Squad released their thing like 2 years early, but they weren't ready to do that.
Yeah.
But they're just like, okay, yeah, here you go. Just to get excitement for it, announce it, set the tone of the movie.
Which is the wrong
stuff
tone.
like that. Well, yeah, but with this, it'll probably be. I think that is the right tone.
Yeah.
They probably just released it to be like, here's a snippet. This is what we've done. We're really excited about it. This is the tone of our film. This is just something to say it's coming. Get you excited for it. Set you the tone. We'll show you the Venom suit and more of the story and all that sort of stuff a lot later. But right now, here's just a few quick snippets because it is only a teaser trailer. So I'm not entirely disappointed. Like I liked the tone of what I saw. It does look quite dark, like quite adult. Tom Hardy looks really good. I'm interested by like the whole freakout session because I remember they released that video of like a fan I think caught him filming, and he was like freaking out like as he got out of the cab or whatever. It looks like he's fighting something inside of him. So I was like, I do like the fact that because what I think they're going to do, I think they're going to have the whole thing of.
But yeah, no, I do agree because it does look all good. Especially from the scene, like you said, with him freaking out in front of the cab. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is him. I don't want it to be too much like a Hulk film, where it's like it will be two split person. It is supposed to be Venom is supposed to be two split personalities between Venom and Eddie Brock. It is supposed to be two entities, and then after a while they do become one in terms of he does then gain control and talk with Venom as opposed to talking against him and blah blah. But I don't want it to be like he's Venom, he does all this stuff, and then he turns back to Eddie Brock and he has no memory of what he's done.
Oh no, I think what they'll probably do is they'll do the whole thing. If he gets the Venom suit as like they offer him something, he's like, yeah, all right, I'll take it to save myself or to I don't know, get over whatever demons he's got going on. And the Venom suit, because the whole point of Venom attaching itself to Eddie Brock is that Eddie Brock is the only one who can be in unison with Venom, whereas everyone else it's like for example with Peter Parker, it brings out this fucking really demonic sort of side to him and he takes it off. He's like, I can't handle it, it drives me insane. Whereas Eddie Brock is like, you know, that's why they say we are Venom, because him and Venom are like they're so harmonious. But I think what they'll do is the whole because if they want to do another film they probably will, but because this is only the first film, they'll probably do a thing of he gets the Venom suit, he fights against it for a while, and then, I don't know, maybe like when Carnage comes in, or when the other symbiotes come in and start destroying everything, and they're like, oh, you're the only one that can save us, and all that sort of stuff. Then he's like, all right, I'll fight with you, but only to stop them. But by the end of the fight, he's already succumbed so much to it that it's like he becomes one with it, and he realises, actually, we're not that different after all, and I kind of need you. Like, when he goes to get rid of it, he's like, actually, no, I kind of need you with me. And that's when they become the whole, like, the one Venom, we are Venom sort of thing.
If anything, he needs him because Venom's the only thing that keeps him alive. Because of the cancer, it's the only entity that keeps him alive. In a way, because it stops him from dying.
Yeah.
So that's another thing as well that will come into play. They'll probably detach from each other, and then he'll realise that he's dying, and the only thing that will keep him alive is the suit. So
that could be... maybe like the government take it away from him, and that could be the whole scene in the trailer. You know, when like he's on the motorbike and he's running away from what looks like the government chasing him.
Yeah.
That could be that, maybe. Yeah. Maybe he's like after the Venom suit, or he's got the Venom suit and he's running away with it, trying to get it on him, and then they're chasing after him because they don't want him to have it, or something like that. Or maybe they're just after him because they need him to have it, or maybe. But I don't know. I reckon I've got really high hopes for it because obviously Venom. Well, I mean, Carnage is my favourite villain of all time. And Venom is up there as like probably the second for me. So for me, it'd be a really fucking good film.
Carnage is 100% confirmed in this film.
He's not that I've seen, no. But that's it's the thing, fairly sort of. It's been very heavily hinted at.
Because the problem is if they haven't 100% confirmed it, and they haven't confirmed an actor either, I feel like they'll probably do Carnage, but they won't do Carnage as in. I don't think they'll do Carnage Cletus Cassidy Carnage, and I don't think they'll do Carnage or someone else being. I think they'll do Carnage, like you said. The government will probably take the suit, they'll experiment on it, and then it will go back on Eddie. But then the experiment that's still at the government will then form Carnage, but it won't be on anyone. It will be like this sort of entity that grows. Kind of like in Spider-Man 3 when Venom detached itself from Eddie Brock and it just grew, got bigger and bigger. And then the grenade was thrown into it. I feel like they'll do that again. So Carnage will be in it, but it won't be the Carnage we know. It will be their version of Carnage, which is just a separate entity that will grow and get bigger and probably infect. Or it will be another symbiote. The government will call it Operation Carnage, but it won't actually be the one we know that looks red, that's formed on Cletus Cassidy and that's equally as strong as Venom. And like I don't think they'll do any of that because they haven't revealed they haven't even revealed the character Cletus Cassidy or the actor. Nothing. They've just
it's heavily rumoured to be Woody Harrelson because apparently he plays like mental characters and stuff like that. But because of what you just said, I'm thinking what they might do is maybe they create something where it's the Carnage character, but it's not Cletus Cassidy yet, and I don't know, maybe it gets created, or maybe one of the other symbiotes, when he defeats it, it lays an egg or whatever, it goes in, it finds its way, I don't know, like something escapes from the symbiotes and goes into like, I don't know, a drainage system or a sewage system or something, and it pops up in the prison cell where Cletus Cassidy is, and that's maybe an end credit scene, is like him finding that, and then the shot comes out of his cell and you just see a shadow on the wall and him laughing as maybe his shadow, like, you know, manipulates and starts cracking open and stuff like that, and then I don't know, it fades to black and he's like, I don't know, you just hear him laughing, or you know, something like that.
Yeah, no,
maybe
it could do. I feel like that.
Maybe if they don't do him in this first film, because I know they want to do Spawn and all the rest of the symbiotes in this film, but I don't know if they'll do all of them and leave Carnage out of it, or they'll do all of them with Carnage, or they'll just do Carnage. Like, I don't know what way around they're doing it, but if they don't do Carnage in this film, or they don't do Cletus Cassidy, I hope that they do an end credit scene where the symbiote finds a way into his prison cell. Or I don't know, maybe Eddie Brock gets arrested at the end and Venom, like they do the whole comic book thing of Venom lays an egg and that becomes Carnage.
Yeah,
and latches itself onto Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, it could do. But I do agree. Hopefully they do something like that. Next, another trailer. Did you see? I know you're not a Mission Impossible fan, are you? Oh, you haven't seen the trailer, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, fair. The Mission Impossible trailer does look really good. Like, I'm not a massive fan, but I have seen the films because I am a Bond person, but I will appreciate Mission Impossible, and it is really good, and the film does look really good. But one thing I was saying to you is that I'm looking forward to seeing Henry Cavill as a villain, because we see Henry Cavill as Superman and as a hero and blah blah, and he's been in other films where he's always been the lead protagonist hero. He's always been that sort of person. Whereas now he's going to be a very a very villainous villain. So it'll be interesting to see that, and why he had to keep his moustache during filming of Justice League for this film. So, because it does look good, but yeah, the trailer doesn't look too bad. I do enjoy Mission Impossible. It's okay, and I like Simon Pegg in them because it's weird seeing Simon Pegg not in comedy films.
Yeah,
but to see him in these films isn't actually that bad. It's pretty good. But no, looking forward to that. Can't think of
there was one other trailer, was Cloverfield Paradox.
Which
you haven't seen, have you?
I've not seen it, but I've seen a status from our friend Billy, who she is a massive fan of the other Cloverfield. So she made a status saying that she was really looking forward to this film in Netflix, and it was going to look really good and blah blah. But then when she watched it, she made a status going, well, that was absolutely fucking terrible. And it just put me off, and I thought, do you know what?
Okay, so
I'd rather not make that exist in the universe at all.
So since then, I have seen the film. I watched it on Netflix the other night. And I will say this, so the first Cloverfield, when it came out, no one really knew anything about it. It came out, it was a good film. I think it was like one of the first ones to be like found footage or something like that. It was really good. And then after that, we had an announcement for 10 Cloverfield Lane, which there was like, oh, here's the trailer. Oh, by the way, comes out in like the next month or two, so you can watch it. And it was like, not many films do that, so it was nice. And then when this one came out, it was like, here's the trailer. Oh, by the way, you can go watch it now. So that was kind of nice. And I love that Cloverfield are the only like franchise that do that, because every time they release a trailer, out, it's out already. Like I can go watch it right now. So I watched Cloverfield Paradox. I went in with really low expectations because of obviously like seeing Billy's status. And I'll say this: it is definitely worse than the other two. I think they got better. Like Cloverfield 1 was interesting. You don't really know much about what happened. You just see it from one person's perspective. I thought that was really cool, really good story. Very interesting concepts and stuff. 10 Cloverfield Lane, same sort of thing. It was a great film. And then obviously the ending connects it with Cloverfield because of the whole alien thing. And then this one, I mean, it's not great. I'm gonna give it that. It's not a bad film, like really, really, really bad. It's not great. It's not a good film. It's nowhere near a good film. But it's just, I don't know. It kind of just, it was their way of sort of, I guess, explaining how the monsters came to be on Earth. But they did it in such a, I mean, I'll just say this, right? Okay, so the way they did it was, a lot of people will find it a bit confusing and hard to follow because of what they did and the way they tried to explain how the monsters came into being in the first place. And there's a lot of like science stuff behind it that a lot of it, I'm going to admit, will probably go over a lot of people's heads. And it wasn't great. A lot of it just doesn't really make that much sense. So if I had to rate them, obviously this would be the worst one. But I would still recommend watching it if you're a fan of Cloverfield, just to, see what they did and see what they tried to do. But just so that you know, when you go in, it's not going to be the best ride of your life. It's not going to be as good as the other two. It's just going to be an okay film. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you don't really want to go in and be disappointed and you just want to enjoy the other two, I'd say just stick with those two.
No, fair enough. Because I've not seen it, I don't really plan to, and I'm not really, because I'm not a huge fan of Cloverfield. I've seen them and I appreciate them; they're good films, but I'm not a massive. I won't. If this one's really bad, I'm not going to bother with it because it's just like I might as well not waste so much of my time in order to see. Like, it's like that episode of Black Mirror, the Metalhead one. I wasted 40 minutes of my life, which I'll never get back because that was the worst episode of Black Mirror. The worst episode of anything I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. But yeah, that was terrible.
Do you know what? I remember watching that episode and I didn't think it was all that bad until the very end.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that just makes the entire episode just absolute complete shite.
Dreadful. Whoever wrote that can just go in a cup.
In a cup?
Yeah. I feel like that's torture. That's squeeze in a cup.
Sure. I mean, why not?
That's the end of Super Bowl stuff for now.
One more thing I'll discuss is, one thing I've noticed is this is going to be like a basic iPhone rant or Apple rant, but it's not. It's because me and you are Android people, or we have Android phones. But
Samsung.
But we've both had iPhones. Or have you had an iPhone?
I've never had an iPhone. Never want one.
Okay, fair. You've never had one. I've had one. So I've come off iPhone into Android. You've never had one, which fair is good point on both. I will never go back because of how restrictive iPhone is, or was before, and how much more open Android could be. Like, you could do so much more stuff on Android than you could on iPhone. Like, iPhone I just couldn't stand. And the fact that it was always the same design home screen you got every single time, and I just got so bored of it. I just thought no. But the one thing I noticed is that, because people, Android and Apple always have this thing against each other of, Android, blah, 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 this, and iPhone, blah, 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 that, and Apple, this, that, and the other. But the one thing that I've, in my line of job, because I work at a train station, so I dispatch trains, so the one thing that I've always noticed on trains and on public transport is that you always get people with laptops. You always get people with laptops on trains. God knows why, because you're only on the train for about half an hour or 20 minutes.
Got to answer all those emails.
Yeah, what is so important for you to open your screen, boot up your laptop, do shit for everyone else to see, just to see how important you are? It's ridiculous. Or, better yet, opening your screen to play... I've seen a woman open her laptop to play solitaire on her laptop. Why could you not have that on your phone? I will never know.
It
takes up a lot of battery.
It's so
Got to
stupid.
bring a whole laptop out for that. That's important.
It's ridiculous. Or she and there was other people I saw like one person was on Facebook on their laptop taking up a seat doing it, and I just thought, why? It's so pointless. And another person was like answering email. I mean, if you're on a long distance train, so like if you're on a mainline train, which means the trains that go to Dover or Hastings, if you're going to Tunbridge, fair enough. You've got time, and you got to write an essay, you got to write a documentation, whatever. That's fine. It's understandable, but ridiculous nonetheless. But the one thing I've noticed with every laptop, no matter what, every single person that has a laptop on a public transportation or in a cafe, because people always go in cafes and go on laptops as well, is always an Apple user. I've never seen anyone with a standard Sony laptop or a standard Toshiba laptop or nothing. It's always Apple people. Always. Because Apple users are the biggest show-offs. As in, because Apple... Whoever owns an Apple has to show it off. And I don't mean Apple phones. I think Apple phones, apart from the latest one, are the things that you could have and not really display so much. But apart from the latest one, but I'll talk about that one. But everything else Apple, if you have an iPad, you have to have it on a train and show it off. This woman on a train during rush hour had the fattest Apple iPad in her hand to watch some TV series with. Why she couldn't have a small phone, I'll never know. As in an iPhone, she had to have the fattest tablet. So when she held it in rush hour, crowded train, taking up so much space, holding the iPad in front of her face, while her and probably 5 other people behind her were watching. It's just ridiculous. But it's the fact that people with iPhones are the biggest forms of show-off, no matter what. You just have to present an Apple product.
Well, unless you brought out the iPad just because it's more like a TV screen, rather than a small screen that a phone could give.
Yeah, but a TV screen nowadays is, 50 inch?
No, I know, but obviously it's better to watch it on an iPad than your phone, and it is designed to be portable, right?
No, true, it is. But it's just always... I've never seen anyone with a Microsoft Surface go on a train using it. Do you see what I mean? So you never see any... Basically, it's always... Every time you see someone with a massive device
I think that's more to do with Apple being the bigger brand. Like, obviously, Apple... Yeah, everyone has, like, Apple iPods, Apple iPhones, Apple iPads. Like, it's always whatever, you know? Whereas the Windows thing and the other brands like Amazon's Kindle and all that sort of stuff, people have them, but they don't really bring them out because they're not like the generic thing to go for usually.
No, it's true. I do agree with that. It's just that
they're nowhere near as big.
The thing with Apple is that they're bigger, but they're also a shit ton more expensive. So if you're showing it off so much and then you get robbed, that's your own fault because you've got it out so much in the open. People have it out in the open so much everywhere they go, and then they get robbed, and then they don't blame themselves. I mean, yeah, obviously they get robbed. They can blame the people robbing them.
I was going to say, you could argue that people shouldn't rob things.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, I mean, that's just a shitty thing to do.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of, like, they have it out so much, whereas other devices people have, they tend to discreetly hide them and discreetly put them in places. But yeah, no, but as well as that, iPhone, as well as it being expensive and everyone shows it out and about, it's also expensive to repair and replace. Like iPhone, anything to do with Apple is expensive. Like an Apple Mac, as in PC Mac, not a MacBook Pro, basically, are ridiculously expensive. Because if a piece breaks, you can't replace that just small piece. You have to replace the entire block or the whole system. It's not like a PC, like a Microsoft PC. It's not like a PC where if a part breaks, you just replace the part. If a part breaks in a Mac, you have to replace the entire thing or send the entire thing off because you can't take apart anything Apple. Everything Apple is always one bulk unit. So, for example, Androids now are one bulk unit phones, but Android before you could take off the back, if you remember. Mm-hmm. But old Androids, you could take off the back, take off the power cell, the battery. People used to put their battery in and out hundreds of times because it went wrong. Whereas iPhone, if something goes wrong with it, you can't do anything. You're fucked with it. You have to send it off or give it into repair and wait like 2 weeks for it to come back to then have a normal phone again. Mm-hmm. So as well as that, iPhone is just so much more harder to maintain than it is with Android.
True. And I've found a lot of the times Android phones don't really crack the screens as much. You see a lot of Apple phones with cracking screens, or cracked screens rather.
Yeah.
But not so much on the old Android front.
Exactly.
I mean, I've seen them. Obviously, there are cracked phones out there, but there's a lot less of them than, say, Apple phones. Apple phones tend to have a lot more cracks in them.
Yeah, and as well as that, the only upside to the whole cracking screen thing is that Apple's or iPhones, when their screens crack, they can still be used, even though it's bad to do because it looks ridiculous. As much as they show it off, they then still show it off, but it's massively cracked. The fact that you have a 700 to 800, no, sorry, 800, 900 pound phone. Actually, no, say even the new iPhone X, £1,000 phone that's already cracked that people have done because in the first 2 weeks of it being released, people already cracked it, which was bad. Like people already smashed the screen, and but the only good thing is that you could still use it. Whereas Android, if you crack the screen, most Android phones, when you crack the screen, it's fucked. You can't, even if it's just one crack along the middle, it's almost unusable. So can be quite annoying. But with iPhone, at least when it's absolutely smashed, you can still use it. People cut their thumb swiping. It's amazing, but that's the only thing that's good. But you know, what I was going to say as well is because with the new iPhone, is that it's £1,000, or it's near £1,000, the new iPhone for 3 new features. 1, which is the whole face emoji text thing. 2, wireless charging, which sounds better than it is, because wireless charging is not great. It's like wireless charging, when you put it on the dock, it's stuck on the dock. Most people, when they go to sleep or go to bed, they want the wire so that they can still do stuff, still hold it, which you can do with a wireless dock, but you have to hold the wireless dock with the phone, moving it around everywhere, which is ridiculous. Wireless charging sounds better than it is. And the last thing was the facial recognition unlocking thing, which, to be honest, is just a gimmick. The thumb thing is more what's the word?
Efficient.
Yeah, more efficient because you're using your thumb. You're not using your face with your phone. As soon as you unlock it, you're not then headbutting the screen to then make a text. That doesn't work. Like when you look at the screen, and the worst thing is most people on iPhone, because Android have this thing where you can look at the time on an Android without unlocking the screen. Without pressing the button to light up the screen. You can see the time on the phone without having to unlock the screen. Whereas iPhone, you have to press a button to see the time, because most people look at the time on their phone. With Apple, you'll have to press the button to see the time, but then when you look at the time, your phone unlocks. Then you have to lock it again and put it in your pocket. It's just more...
Yeah, that'd be a bit of an annoyance.
It's just more of an annoyance. You just have to turn it off every single time.
Do you know what I'd imagine? Now, I was going to try and justify that by saying, well, I'm sure you could turn off the facial feature thing, but then that's one of the main selling points.
Yeah, that was one of the
main... Why would you then buy a phone for £1,000? Part of the grand price is that you're getting that facial feature, but then you just turn it off.
Yeah.
So what are you paying the £1,000 for?
Exactly, and there wasn't even that much difference for it to be £1,000. The only difference, apart from those 3 features, was the fact that the phone was a little bit longer and it had edge-to-edge screen. So basically, Android have had an edge-to-edge screen for quite a while, and their phones are not worth £1,000. Their phones are worth 600-700 still, whereas the iPhone X is £1,000 for that. So it's basically you can go on the most nicest holiday, 7-star, all this, that, and the other. 7-star, 5-star.
I was going to say 7-star. It's a damn good hotel.
7-star's brilliant. 5-star, all this, that, and the other, or a phone, which has smashed. It had so many issues when it first came out, like the fact that it had something called the green line of death, which I think went along the side of the screen.
Why do they always have something of death?
Yeah,
like Xbox, there was like the red ring of death. Now iPhone, you've got I don't know. Wait, no, that's iPhone. That's not Microsoft. There's always a company that has something of death.
It's so weird. But it's and even the worst thing is that simple features that Android have had for years, that iPhone I think have only just got or recently haven't had for so long, is when we have so many apps open, we can close all the apps at once. We have close all apps, and iPhone have not had that.
You have to swipe up every single one.
Exactly. That's one simple feature that iPhone could not put in for so long. I have no idea if they've done it now, but they have not done that for however many years. Yet Android have had that, and it's the simplest button of close all apps.
Admittedly, it has been a bit of an annoyance in the past where I'm just so used to closing all the apps most of the time that sometimes I'll want to leave an app open for a purpose. Like, for example, YouTube, I'll have a playlist on. I'll come off the playlist and then my natural instinct is to press the menu button, close all apps, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell, I lost the playlist. There are times where it can be a bit of an annoyance, but for the most part, it's very easy.
Yeah.
And it's the usual thing that I normally do is just get rid of everything at once or close them all at once to save on battery life or data. So it's not that much of an annoyance that I would want it to be gone. I'd rather have it there.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, really, from me and mine. Unless there's anything else you want to discuss.
No, that's it. We're all good to wrap up. So thank you for joining us again for another guitar podcast. Just as the bell rings 3, I guess. Is it 3? 3, 4?
3 what? 3, 4 what?
3 o'clock? 4 o'clock?
Oh. It's
Who knows?
3:24. What?
3:24. There we go. Just as the bell rings 3:24, so we must shut the door. Thank you for joining us again for another podcast. My name is Dan. This is Shai. Thank you for listening. Please let us know in the comments below any answers to the comments or things we brought up in this podcast. What you think? Please let us know your ideas. Shai won't read them, but I might.
I love how you said, please let us know, please, about 3-4 times in those sentences.
Yeah.
Please.
Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you, Louis.
Well, we'll see you, but you won't see us.
That just sounds really creepy.
Yes, it does. Good night.
What was that?
And good morning. Wherever you are.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Have a good day.
No, do you not know that reference?
I do know that
I
reference.
was about to say.
Jim Carrey. Anyway, yeah. So, thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. That's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
There you go. Goodbye.